My name is Corey. I come from Montana, and I wanted to share with you some of my opinions about guns. This is a gun, this is a shovel. Where I came from, there wasn't a lot of distinction between the two. They're both tools to be used. When I grew up, we had guns around the house, we had guns when we went on vacation, we had guns at the ranch. It was no big deal. When I came to California, I realized there was a huge stigma attached to guns, and it was really unfounded, I think. Now, let me explain to you, we used guns for utilitarian purposes, we used guns for recreational, to go out hunting and having a good time, but they did also serve a very practical role in that, for instance, probably about 90% of our meals, the meat provided on the table, all year round, came from hunting. It was an inexpensive way to put meat on the table. It was no big deal. I feel weird sitting there. I can actually remember one time a kid actually coming to school with a rifle just like the one I just showed you for show and tell. And there wasn't a big problem with it. He didn't shoot up the place, you know. As a matter of fact, nobody even had a thought of that. I mean, you know, no faculty stopped him, nobody did anything. And one of the things I've always thought is that we needed another term. Okay, there's gun abolishment, which is a lot of what people call gun control, I think, in their minds. You know, and then there's, you know, pro-gun, which means, you know, they think that, you know, everybody should just be able to have any type of gun, whatever. But I think that there also has to be a moderate, you know, ground where we license users of guns. You know, you go and you drive a car someplace, you know, if you want to drive a car, you have to have a license. You have to show proficiency with that vehicle because it's a dangerous thing. I don't see why we can't do the same thing, you know, with guns. People need to be licensed to have guns. People need to show proficiency with the weapons before they're allowed to have them. And I know that steps on the toes the original, you know, Constitution, but, you know, it's a matter of practicality, I think, of, you know, what we need to do. Virginia Tech, I think, is a good example because it's not been established yet where he got the gun. Okay, he actually had two guns. He had a 22 and a 9mm. But the interesting thing about that is the different regulations. You know, in the state of Virginia, they basically don't have the same sort of waiting periods. They don't have the same other sort of problems. Even if that isn't where he got it, there was a gun show the weekend before, which has an odd exemption to waiting periods in in law, and I think that would be a good example of the problem here. You know, is just you know, the lack of sort of licensing and regulation.